We're going to start that again, Teddy Bear. Are you ready? Can you sit up, please? Okay, we look at the camera. That's it. Good boy. Now, what have you got to say? You got something to say? Oh, was that a hello? Do it again. Hello. Good. Well, so hello from me, Anna, and Teddy on Pet Talk. And our wonderful guest today is Kay Atwood, who is a lovely, lovely behaviorist. And I had the absolute pleasure, well, we had the absolute pleasure of attending one of her fun workshops on cognitive skills. So welcome to Pet Talk, Kay.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess the first question would be, what are cognitive skills? When we talk about developing cognitive skills in our dogs, what do we mean?
It's developing their brain power and their ability to problem solve and work things out. And instead of going about things like a bull in a china shop, to learn how to think about it, how to slow down, how to work it out, and then go, yeah, I think I know what to do now, and then do it that way. But there's lots of different skills and skill sets that you can have, but you need a whole bunch of skills to be able to do it. You need self-control, you need to have some patience, you need to have some you need to have a little bit of motivation, you need to have self-control. Because, you know, a lot of people, like, they say to me, oh, my dog will never be able to do that. He's so stupid.
Yeah.
Is he?
I hear that a lot. And it always makes me...
I bet he's not. You know, sometimes it might just be that you've set criteria too high, or you're asking too much of him at the moment, or maybe now is not the right time to be trying that particular thing with him. So cognitive skills is a lot of different things, but it's the ability to teach your dog to make choices, informed choices, and to develop some skill on how to problem solve. What would you like me to do? What should I do right now? And the more you expand on that and have your dog learn to be a cognitive thinker, the more it spills over into other areas of your dog's life. So you might find that if your dog is a little bit erratic and finds it really difficult to concentrate, do some cognitive skills with him on a regular basis, and now your dog becomes much calmer. And, you know, it's something that is just really good for them, as well as a lot of fun, as you know.
So why is it important that we spend time to help them to develop their cognitive skills?
Well, it's important because, you know, because you do a lot with your dog. I'm just going to move into another room because my husband's arrived home and I don't want him to have to creep around, bless him. It's important because everybody likes to do things with their dog, and everybody likes something of value to do with the dog. So it's another element of having something to do rather than just obedience. All right, sorry about me moving around. Rather than just obedience. So it gives you a totally new avenue in which to work with your dog to do something totally different. But it also means that you're doing something new so that your dog goes, well, this is different. So your relationship is improved that way. But because it's something new and it's something that 9 times out of 10, you need to set it up for the dog to watch you and then cue the dog to perform, your focus skills from your dog goes straight up. And as does their listening skills. And that's why it kind of then spills out over onto other elements of your relationship. So it's good for relationship building and understanding how each other works, because people who say to me, oh, my dog is far too stupid for that, there could be all sorts of reasons why they think their dog is stupid. And it's usually because the dog didn't do it, he got it wrong, or he just didn't know what to do. And that is something that we can work on. So in a workshop, then I would work with the owner on that. So we can say, well, let's help the dog learn what to do, how to do it, by teaching you how to present it differently, not always better, but how to present it to the dog differently in order for your dog to say, yeah, I know what you want me to do now. So it's important on that level, and also for just relationships, and to have something on a totally different scale to do with your dog. You know, you might work through obedience levels with a training school, but what do you do when you've got to advanced and then that's it? By then you've probably got the drug training bug with your dog, and so you think, well, where do we go to now? So cognitive skills is never ending. So you can then teach them to work it out. Now, once you've got a dog that is a little bit of a cognitive thinker, out on your walks, you can use the skills that they've learned, for work out what I want you to do with that block of wood. And then the dog just goes, what, that block of wood there? Yeah. Work it out. What do I want you to do? So then you've got a dog that is now offering behavior, and then you just choose to mark the one that you've liked. But you've now got a dog that says, yeah, I'm up for that. I'm willing to work. I'm willing to do this, and I'm willing to try. When a dog gets something wrong, for whatever methodology that you might use, if you don't keep him motivated, he's going to stop trying. And that means that he stops trying on a lot of things, because he just goes, it's too difficult. No, I'm not very good at this. I always get it wrong. So, no, I'm not going to do that today. I'm not even going to try. And then, no, I don't want to do that anymore. Instead of having a dog that goes, I have no idea what you want me to do, but you know what, I'm going to have a good go at it, because I think that you're going to guide me well, and it won't be long before I do know what you want. And then when I do what you want, I know that I'm going to get reinforced for it. So it flips it on its head, the way that your dog thinks about it. I hope that explains it.
So much in there. And I think the first thing is that it's improving communication skills.
Absolutely. On both parties.
Exactly. As an ex-teacher, if my children were not responding to what I was teaching, I would never write them off and say they were stupid or not clever. I would think, okay, something's gone wrong here. What else can I do? So
yeah, you can either drop criteria or take another approach.
Absolutely. And so for me, it's the most natural thing in the world to assume that actually somehow this message has not got across. It might be that I'm not communicating clearly enough. It might be that the way I'm communicating it is too complicated.
Yeah.
Because I'm introducing something new, and maybe I've forgotten a few steps. Maybe I need to go back a few steps.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when we're communicating with our dogs. Is our body language clear enough? Are we clear on what we want them to do? I think it's such
is the reinforcement the right reinforcer?
Yes,
there's
indeed.
all sorts of things there, isn't there?
Absolutely. When I was teaching him that he wasn't, when he finds banana peels, because he's allergic to bananas but adores them, when he finds banana peels out in the woods, he's not to eat the banana peel, he's to bring it to me instead. Well, obviously this is an incredible prize, so the reward's going to have to be worth
absolutely. Yeah.
So we have a very special thing that's only used for that purpose.
It's like finding a £20 note but knowing you're about to get given a 50.
Exactly. Absolutely. So this is the purpose of duck necks in our household, but it's so always we have to think logically about what we're asking them to do, how much effort they're putting in, what is it that we're asking them to give up. And yes, you're right, the reinforcement, the price has to be right.
Yeah, If the price is right, come on down.
Exactly. He's going to do it. So I think that was the first thing I thought of when you were talking about this. It's us, we're the ones with the bigger brain. So the
Yeah.
us to make sure that we get it right. And equally,
Mm.
part of it right is learning to read then. When Teddy first arrived in the first year, it was a mystery, an absolute mystery. I was desperate to work out what he was saying to me. It's not a foreign language, it's foreign species. So yeah, there's going to be things. So apart from devouring books, I mean, I used to watch behaviors reading dogs and think, that's magic. How did you know that? How did you do that? And
Yeah, but your dog is also equally as wanting to understand you.
Yes, and in fact, he studies me, and he knows every muscle that I move. And I know that because if I'm asking him to hold back while I throw a ball and wait for the cue for him to run, I have to be so careful, because one movement and he is off before the cue.
Yeah.
Because he's anticipating. So there's all these things that are so important. And it was just listening to you. That was the first thing. But then you were talking about choices and working things out. And you were talking about the giving up. I can't think of anything sadder than to think a dog would give up.
I know.
Do just like children do. And so I think then we're now talking about confidence, aren't we?
Yeah, the more you get told you got it right, your confidence goes up, and the more you get told you've got it wrong, then your confidence takes a nosedive, and that's when you go across the realms of possibly saying, I don't want to do it anymore. So I like to offer my learners in cognitive skills, more so than any other training that I do, because it's difficult, 2 choices. One is right and one is wrong. And if the dog takes the wrong route, nothing happens. I don't make a sound, I don't move, I don't say anything, I don't do anything. And that keeps the dog into, well, nothing's happened. Well, if that's wrong, then that's got to be right. So you see how very quickly they then go, the speed at which they choose to do the right thing, and then they immediately get reinforced. So the dog goes, whoa, that was good. I got it wrong, but I got it right in the end. So it keeps them wanting to try. Once you've got a dog that is used to maybe sometimes getting it wrong, maybe, but if they do, it's fine, because it doesn't matter, because it tells me the information that I'm getting from getting it wrong, and that's important. Because if you get no information, you just know that you're wrong, that is so deflating. But because one is right and one is wrong, when they choose the wrong one, they go, well, the information I get from that's got to be right. Once they understand that concept, you can now adding in other choices. So now you've got a dog that goes, well, that's wrong. There's another 2. Are they both wrong, or are they both right, or is only one of them right? But it gives them the confidence to go, do you know what? I'm either going to work it out. Hang on a minute. What's the association that I can make here of what was correct? Or what is the association that I can now make that was wrong? So that's got to be wrong. That means that's got to be right. So now you've got some thought process going on, whereas you may have had a dog that just goes, I'm going to stab in the dark. Now you've got a dog that goes, hang on, let me think about this for a second. So they're now slowing themselves down. That takes self-control. And then when you start adding in more choices, you know that now the dog is now learning to think about making it right. But even if they did get it wrong, their motivation isn't affected. They just go, okay, well, I'll try again. And they'll keep trying, and you come back tomorrow and they'll go, yep, I'm going to keep trying. Come back the next day and they'll go, yep, I'm still up for trying. But if it didn't give them any information getting it wrong, and the information, if it was just like, no, no, no. At some point they're going to go, oh, for God's sake, can you not say anything else? I don't want to do it anymore because I have no idea what right is now. I'm bored, or I'm getting frustrated. You know, that happens a lot. But you'll find that dogs don't get frustrated because they just go, all right, I can accept that maybe I got it wrong, but that tells me that that's got to be right. So then motivation goes straight back up.
You talked about focus and how it really helps to develop focus. Also, we're talking about them offering a behavior. And of course, that makes me think of two things with Teddy, and I've seen it with his friends too, where they know there's a treat on offer. They know somebody's going to ask them to do something. And rather wait, do you
want this? Do you want that? Do you want this?
We get the repertoire of everything they think might be about to be asked of them.
I'm going to press all the buttons until I press the right one.
And see which one it is. And so one of the things that I found really useful was getting with the cognitive skills workshop. It encouraged him to focus and watch and listen before going off to do it. Yeah. And it was marked improvement in his ability to do that, because patience, I don't know whether it's a general dog thing, but patience is not one of Teddy's fortes. He's very impulsive. And we've done so much work on impulse control. And this was really lovely because, and I'll tell you what it was the memory game that you taught us. That memory game, because he had to watch where I was putting the object.
Yeah.
Real game changer. And we play it on rainy days. He still knows that game and he loves it. And we've elaborated, make it more challenging for him. He absolutely loves it. So we're now at a point where, so it's just for people, for viewers, the idea is that you get your dog to focus and watch you as you put a toy somewhere that they can see. So this is not a find it game. The aim is to remember where the toy is, and then you go off and then you ask them to go and you ask them where it is. So the game in our household is called Where's Parrot, because we use Parrot. We use his one of his favorite toys. And it's brilliant because now whenever I ask him to do something, he actually sits and watches me. And if I say to him, hang on a minute, just watch me first, he'll sit and he'll watch for the instruction. And it's that kind of thing that makes these activities so valuable, quite aside from the how while you're doing them. Obviously, it's to, if I can't get out for a walk at any point and I say we're going to play Where's Parrot, I know he's going to have a great time, and then I'll add other games in too. But that's one of his favorites. He loves it. And I did it now to playing it out in the woods as well.
Yeah.
So, not Parrot, it's something else. But I'll ask him, I'll say, watch mummy and watch me. And I'll put something on a bench, walk off, have a little chat with him, let him sniff around. And I'll say, oh, where did mummy put? And he goes, oh yeah, it's on that bench over there. And he goes and gets it. So this is why it's so valuable. So in that game, we had focus, we have memory,
listening,
and we have listening. It's brilliant. So this is important, isn't it?
Yeah. But it also, that game, it also teaches them that you need information first.
Yes.
Wait for the information. And when you've got the information, then wait for the cue and then go for action.
One of the games that you taught us as well, it was where they have pictures and they have the right picture.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's quite a challenging thing. And somehow I just haven't got organized to do that. But one thing that I used to do, because I wanted him to learn the names of certain objects, like my slippers and my keys,
Yeah.
and things. So it used to be that if I put my keys and my slippers on the floor, he would want to guess which one it was. And typically he would make his decision based on which one he wanted to go and get.
Yes.
Because of Where's Parrot, he doesn't guess anymore. He'll sit and he'll wait to hear what it is that I want him to bring to me.
Yeah.
And he'll go and he'll do that. It's been a huge improvement in that. So you see the knock-on effect, because it's the listening for the information.
Yeah. You can't do this without the information. So sit back and watch and listen and then do it. Then you'll have the information that you need in order to carry out the task. That means you're going to be successful faster. It's the quickest route to reinforcement. And because it's the quicker route to reinforcement, that they just go, okay, well, I'll wait.
Yeah. And I tell you how brilliant that is for Teddy, because as I say, he is super impulsive. I mean, he just, as a puppy, he was like a rocket, off everywhere. And to get him to actually slow down has been marvelous. Obviously maturity, but it's more than that, because I could see that although maturity helps, he's naturally very impulsive anyway.
Yeah. Obviously focus and listening skills and also cognitive skills is good for all dogs, but there are some dogs that have maybe behavior traits or issues, that there's always something that you can find in cognitive skills that you will be able to use that will help you resolve issues or solve issues quickly, or change issues to something else that you do want instead. There's always an element of that, always. For example, whenever I do my workshops, if who's ever hosting me asks, can we have a reactive dog? And I think we did have one on the course that you were, it was a Vizsla.
Yes.
I always say absolutely, yeah, because they also, them and their owners, they also have the right to attend workshops. It's not just dogs that are impeccably behaved, but we just give them extra space. And pretty soon that dog forgets that it's in a hall with its triggers, because that part of their brain where they just go, whoa, this is great, this is new, this is different. And they're having such good fun. And also the conversation that they're having with their owner is a lot more intense, because of the focus and the listening and everything else, that they just get on with the stuff and they just stop barking at the dogs before long. So it doesn't matter what the behavioral issue is. There is some element, I mean, I'm not saying that you need to put a dog that's reactive in a hall with other dogs to practice a cognitive skill, because it has to be a controlled environment and it has to be the best learning environment for everyone. But there is an element there that you might be able to do on a one-on-one with your dog, some cognitive skills that will help them in other areas. So it's, it's not just that you would do them just for having fun with your dogs. If you've got issues with your dog, then there'll be some element that I'd be able to find to say, look, let's get them doing this instead. For example, information. You can teach, keeping with reactivity, if you teach a dog, wait for the information and don't do anything until you've got the information, that can then transpire that a dog sees another dog, a trigger, and he goes, hang on, I'll wait for information. I'll wait for more information. And that information is, he's not even looking at me. He's not barking at me. He's not even coming anywhere near me. So why do I need to react? No, I don't. I've got enough information to feel safe that I don't habitually have to kick off like I would normally. So as soon as they learn, wait for information, you've now got a game changer.
Yeah, it's everything, isn't it? Because it's also about the trust, the level of trust, and the strengthening of the bond with their human human people, the human people. Yes, of course, with their people.
Sadly, not every human is. Not all people are human. I'm sure.
Yes, I think that there may be some truth in that. So anyway, I think that level of trust and the bond, I think particularly for dogs that are very sensitive, and that's got to be a good thing, don't you think?
Yeah, you know, dogs that are sensitive, they become a little bit more confident.
And that's what it comes down to. I mean, I can't help feel that we put too much emphasis on obedience and not enough emphasis on choice and
Fun
and cooperation. I feel that there's all this thing about obedience, and I think it's probably also because those of us who have dogs are under a lot of pressure to get them to behave in public, and behave means all sorts of things, and I think the world is
behaving for you and your dog behaving for you might be something totally different to my dog behaving to me.
Yeah.
So it depends on your perception of behaving, which is a huge subject, but yeah.
And I think that's what I love about this, and I love the way that you talk about giving them choice. What do you think giving them choices does in terms of, it's an odd question when we're talking about a dog, but the development that they have, it is an odd question given that we're talking about dogs, but you'll understand me. In terms of their ability to develop a sense of themselves.
Well, the first choice they have is, do you want to participate? If you don't, walk away. And if you do walk away, it's fine. I'll say to people on workshops, if your dog takes himself off to his bed, let him stay there. He'll come out when he's ready. So that's the first choice. So in terms of that, it's the dog learning that it's okay to say no. It doesn't matter. If you say no, I'll ask you again later on maybe, or I'll just wait for you to say yes. But it just, if you were a sensitive dog or you were a lazy dog, and you might be quite happy that I let you say no. I'm not going to force you to do it, because if I'm forcing you to do it, you're not going to enjoy it, and I want us both to enjoy this. So it's a two-way street. So that's the first choice. And then the choice the choice that I mean when I say about that the dog has a choice is that making a choice from the concept that I'm presenting to them. And I've already mentioned that can, it raises focus and everything else, but it also for motivation and confidence. So when you put all of that together in one bag, that is a pretty big bag that you've now got, and it's getting heavier and heavier as time goes on, because the skills that have gone into that bag are getting better and better. So what can the dog learn about himself? He can learn to say no, and it's okay to say no. Everybody has a right to say no. He also learns, I'm not going to force you. So, if you say no, be brave enough to say no if that's what you really want. Don't do it when you're thinking no, but your body just says, but I'm going to because I'm frightened if I say no. So I think that in itself is quite a huge thing for a dog to learn, that I can say no if I want to.
What would you say to people who say, yeah, but I just want my dog to be obedient, and if I tell him I wanted to do something, I wanted to do something?
Why do you want him to do that, and why do you want him to do it right now? That would be my first question. You know,
Well,
that's a double end. That's two questions in one. Why do you want him to do that? And why does he need to do it right now? And why does he need to do that here in this environment? Why do you want it in this environment? Because it might be that, you know, if this was a behavior consultation, my first thought would be, does the dog know what you're asking him? Can he do it emotionally of how he's feeling? And if not, why not? Do we need to change that? So it's a huge that in itself is there's a lot of things there that you would need to look at, because we've got to make, go on.
It's just that for so long and this is my issue with just this focus on obedience, is this notion that we have to be the pack leader, and that an obedient dog, a good dog, is a dog that's robotic in the way that it does what it's told. And I think we're saying something else, saying, well, actually, that's really based on a power relationship. And if you pursue that power relationship, that can be damaging to your relationship, but also you could end up with a dog who is frustrated, not very confident,
suppressing behavior.
Exactly. And the result of that can be all sorts of behavior, challenging behavior. So it's better to have cooperation, and that's why you're saying give the dog a choice. Does he or doesn't he wants to do this?
My job as my dog's carers is, if one of my dogs says no, I don't want to, my first question is, I wonder why. Have I not presented it well enough? Are you just not up for it today? Are you feeling all right? Are you hungry? Are you tired? Is there something in it? Why can't you do it in this environment? What is it? It could be anything like that. So that's my first thought. And if none of that is obvious, it might be something there, but it's just not obvious at that moment in time. And I asked again and he didn't want to do it, I'd say, okay, don't do it right now. Let's do something else. Let's do something that you do want. And then I'll ask you again later. 9 times out of 10, he'll be up for it by then. But, you know, you might also have if there's anything like one of my dogs, if I ask him to do something and say it's something that he likes most things, but maybe he's already said, oh yeah, we're going to do some training, but I don't want to do what you're asking me to do. I'd much rather do that. Can we not do that instead? And so he would go over and maybe indicate to me, I want to do that. And then I said, no, come back over here. Come on, we're going to do this. And they go back over to there and go, no, I want to do that. So I go, okay, let's do that twice, all right? And then we're going to do this. So I would do that twice. I've now given him what he wants. I've now motivated him. Now I ask him to do what I wanted him to do, and he's far more likely to do it. But that's him and his personality. Now, some people would say, oh, but you're giving in to him. So I got what I wanted. He got what he wanted. I really don't see that there's a problem. I'm not, I don't want him to do what I want him to do. I have a little saying that I want my dog to do the things that I like. If you do the things I like, you can have the things you want. Well, I like you to do that, and you want to do that. So if I let you do the thing that you want to do, would you then please do the thing that I like? And he'd go, yeah, okay. It's a thing. You might see a couple out in a pub or something, and you might sit with your friend and go, oh my God, that man over there with his wife, he is well under the thumb, poor man. But they might see you out with your dog and go, oh yeah, that dog is well under the thumb, poor dog. They usually go, oh, well-behaved dog. And he's actually under the thumb. So I wouldn't want my husband to be under the thumb, and I certainly wouldn't want my dogs to be under the thumb. I want my dogs and my husband to be happy with the things they're doing, happy with the way that I ask for them to be done, and I want the dog to go, well, okay, well, and my husband, for him to know that he can have the things he wants when I get the things I like. You get what I'm saying?
I
We
do.
kind of have this thing about that it's okay for, you know, to be forceful in a human relationship, that you need to be like that with your dog. Well, no, it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. It's funny because you were talking about you said that if your dog's not wanting to do something you want him to do, that your question is why not? And the best example for this is with Teddy, with recall, because I know that if I call him and he doesn't come when I've called him, there's specific reasons for this. Number one, he likes to have a poo somewhere secluded. So he's busy.
He's busy.
That's number one. Number two, he's found something that he wants to roll in. It smells great. He's rolling. And number three, slightly more concerning, he's eating something he shouldn't be eating that he's found. So he's not being a bad dog. He's not being
doing things he likes.
He's either had a call of nature that he's answering, or he's had a different call of nature. Nature is calling to him and he's doing something because he's found. So he's not being disobedient. What he's doing is he's been diverted from his intention to come when I've called him. So what do? I go and I find him. I want to know why hasn't he come? And inevitably it's one of those reasons. And you know, I think that reminds me again of dealing with little children, when you ask them to do something and sometimes they don't do it, and you get angry and then discover actually the poor child really couldn't do it because, or they were in a double bind situation. It happened the other day. We were out on a walk. Teddy knows that if I'm going to dispose of the poo bag in the poo bin, I tell him to stay with whoever it is that's on the walk with us. So I said to him, stay with Daddy. I went off. Now, something really sweet happened, that his daddy, when he saw me coming back, said to him, come, go see Mommy. And Teddy was completely confused because he was waiting for me to give him the cue. I'm the one who's supposed to give him the cue. And Daddy was therefore telling him to do something he didn't want to disobey, but at the same time, he's been given conflicting information by his two important people. And as soon as I saw that, and it was just this look of confusion on his face, I called him, and it was just running towards me then, because I'd solved his dilemma, but I could see exactly what was happening. And so we have to always remember that actually it's not, I don't think it's really in their nature to want to be uncooperative.
Oh, no. You know, dogs don't get up in the morning and say, do you know what, today I'm going to be a right royal pain in the backside. They just get up and then they go, right, what shall I do now? And from that moment, it's about what they want to do, you know, and what they don't want to do. And things, and them, excuse me, you know, stumbling into something and then thinking, oh, I'll do that right now. Or that was nice. That was reinforcing. So, you know, they don't do it with any intentions of wanting to annoy you.
No, they not. And I think it's so important for people to remember that it's the innocence of them. It's something, if they're not doing what they're being asked to do, there is a reason, and it's up to us to work out what that reason is.
As an example to explain that, if you've got a teenager and they're in their room and you call them, Harry, come on, dinner's on the table. And Harry says, Harry's on his Xbox. And Harry says, yeah, I'll be there in a minute. I just finished this game. Now, he's not doing that to annoy you. He's just not coming when you've called him because he's already doing something of value and he wants to finish it. So his motivation is all different and everything else. Now, if Harry was my son, I'd say, okay. And I'd leave it on the table. And then when Harry come down, he'd go, oh, my dinner's cold. Yeah, you didn't come when I called you. So I wouldn't stand at the bottom like, Harry, get down here now, because I know that I'm up against his Xbox and I'm going to lose. It's pointless calling him and calling. I would just call him that once. He would very quickly learn, if I want to eat my dinner and it's still hot, I'd better put this on pause right now and go now. But that's, that's the thing about, recall. There's something that is interesting to the dog at that moment in time, so he chooses not to recall, not to annoy you, but just because he goes, oh, hang on a second, can I just do this, that sort of thing.
And sometimes see him and it is like he's saying, hang on, coming, because as soon as he's done, he is like a rocket catching up. And you can see it. There was something else that you were talking about, which I wanted to mention.
Well,
but
we've covered quite a lot, haven't we? No wonder you're forgetting, Anna.
It's so yeah, I think so it's confidence, it's understanding, it's communication, it's choice. It's the importance of choice. I think essentially, what we're talking about is we're talking about allowing a dog to be a dog and expecting him to be a robot.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what we're talking about. And the prize of having a dog or allowing a dog to be a dog instead of wanting to shoehorn him into this role of robot is that your chances of having a confident dog that wants to actually cooperate, that was it. So when you were saying about, they get up in the morning and it's, what do I want to do? The thing we need to remember is that one of the most important things that they want to do is fit in with us. And I think they naturally do want to cooperate within the parameters of what they enjoy as dogs.
Yeah.
If we could, and if we understand that their priorities are slightly different than ours, our priority might be to get from the house to the car in 0 seconds flat if we can manage it. His priority is to snip and have a good time along the way. And and so this was a big thing, when he was a puppy, a really big thing, that I knew that if I was in a hurry to go somewhere, I was going to carry him because I could. And it was my fault for not having left the house on time to factor in lots of sniffs on the way to the car. So I would just carry him. I wouldn't have that argument. I would just carry him, get him to the car. And I learned that his priority is as valid as mine. He doesn't have a problem with getting to the car. He just needs a little bit of extra time to get there. So I get more organized and I leave 5 minutes earlier because that's all I need is just that 5 minutes instead of rushing. Do you know what? That made life less stressful for both of us.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's less stressful for me because I'm not rushing so much, and it's less stressful for him because he's not having me going, come on, and it's much better. So I think their priorities are different because their priorities are, would you agree, primarily pleasure oriented.
Yeah, well, they don't have an agenda as we do. I've got to get the dog walked, and then after that I must get to the supermarket and I must get the dinner on by 7. They don't have that agenda in their lives as we do. So there was no agenda for him I need to get in the car quickly. So he just didn't.
No, and that's the thing. It's we one of the things that Teddy has taught me is that I need to make room for him in my day.
Yeah.
And actually, it's true to say that although work is important and all my chores around the house and everything is important, I do, as much as I can, orchestrate everything around him, because that's me making room for him in my day. And if I do that, then I'm happier. There's a bonus in that because what the things that he wants to do are fun things. So I win.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm including fun in my day. I'm including the thing that I love best, which is being out on a walk with him in my day. I'm including, cozying up with a brush and brushing his ears, or, because that's a lovely, pleasurable thing that I've put in my day. So I'm trying to shoehorn him into a mad day. I'm shoehorning a mad day into around him. And
it's not pleasurable for either of you then.
No. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my mad day and I'm saying, right, whatever happens, it has to happen around this.
Yeah.
If people are working, long hours to do that, but then they often have dog walkers or who are doing that part of it. But it's then when you get home in the evening and if you've got the children and everything else, it's so much harder, and there's a lot more pressure on the dog then.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm saying is I've learned to simplify as much as I can around him so that he's allowed to be a dog in the same way I would do that for a child and allow the child to be a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, I think, the thing.
Yeah. And, and even as to cut that even thinner slices, just allowing a puppy to be a puppy.
Oh, God, yes.
Not just a dog, because a puppy isn't, well, it is a dog, you know what I mean? But he's still a puppy. So we need to make time we need to think of that dog's age range and allow him to do things for that age range.
It's so funny you should say that, because Teddy is my first dog. And I thought I knew what life was going to be like with a puppy because I had read.
Hang on a second, belly laugh.
I know. Yeah, because I'd done so much preparation, so I had an idea of what I was in for. But it's a bit like reading baby books, and then the baby arrives. Now you're living it, and when you're living it, it's very different to it in theory. And I mean, I remember puppy books, that said that puppies sleep loads, and mine didn't. Mine hadn't read the memo. So it's, I guess what I'm getting at is one of the most amazing things that I learned was the value of maturity in behaviors that I longed for developing in my dog. It doesn't mean that you don't train them. You have to teach them. You still have to teach them, but you have to understand that what you're asking them to do, and I guess we're back to impulse control, because impulse control is the biggest one, whether it's walking on the lead or anything, it's all about those impulses. And when they're puppies, they're a bundle of impulse, and to varying degrees, some more so than others. And that's going to affect the rate at which they learn. And it's also, it's not that they're not clever, it's just that they're not listening because their mind is elsewhere. Mine was fabulous at home. Take him to puppy school and la 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 la, it's completely different situation. Out in the woods, completely different again. So it's, but I remember when he turned 8 months old, how I began to see a light at the end of my very long dark tunnel of impulse madness. He started to change, and I thought, oh, okay, he's growing up. And that was when I realized, they get better as they get older. This is going to change. You know, the trick I've been doing is beginning to kick in. And of course, by the time he was a year, I thought, wow, this is amazing. 18 months, the best. That was absolutely when I thought, I can actually take pictures when we're out on a walk together.
Oh, well, he is lovely.
So when you said about letting a puppy be a puppy, wow, that is so true.
Yeah. And you know, also that we think, oh, I need to train this dog, and I need to train this puppy, and I need to socialize this puppy. We're already making that puppy's agenda a full agenda. And he doesn't need a full agenda when he's a puppy. He needs a few things on his list. Yeah, of course he does, you know, but he doesn't need a full agenda. He needs time to sleep in the day. Sometimes people say to me, oh, you know, my puppy, he doesn't sleep. Well, how much opportunity does he get to sleep?
Teddy had loads. Teddy had loads of opportunity to sleep. He thought sleep was for wimps. There was a world to discover. There were things to do. And until he actually fell asleep, no, he was on the go. One of the big challenges that even things like I would have his crate, which he slept in very happily at night. And I would bring him in. I tried to introduce nap time in the afternoons. Tried being the operative word, where I would bring his crate in and into the lounge so that I could perhaps, you know, have a little bit of time to relax. But it was really to teach him to settle. And I would cover the crate so that he had a sense that this is, and his bed is in there. Oh, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Good to go again. Are we done now? Nap time's over. So I had to actually really teach him to settle. It was very, very difficult because he just didn't want to. It was too exciting.
But you see, he wouldn't have made you the dog trainer or the dog, you know, that you are today.
I know. He was the best teacher. He was absolutely
Oh, they all are. They all are. They all are for their own individual reasons. I know some dogs that owners would have considered a complete nightmare, but they were teachers to me too. Yeah,
exactly. What I feel with him is that he kept me on my toes, and he was constantly saying, right, okay, so what now? What now? If I do this, is that okay? If I do that? And oh, wait a minute, hold on. I want to communicate. I want to learn how to communicate with my dog. Please, no.
Oh,
that was it. Well, okay. Yes, I think, there's one thing I'm going to ask you. Is there one or two little games that you could suggest to viewers that would...
Okay. Well, you touched on the one earlier, the memory game, but you can also use a similar way of teaching the dog to find your car keys. All right, so you would get a toy or a piece of cloth or a rope toy, something that the dog is comfortable to have in his mouth, and don't attach your keys first of all, and just teach the dog to go and get it or go pick it up and bring it to your hand. And then once they're doing that really, really well, put it onto a cue. Still no car keys, because once you add keys, you've got a whole new dimension to the behavior. And then you want to start getting it on cue, where you would ask the dog to wait and sit, and then throw the toy out, and then where's my keys? So that becomes your cue to now go and fetch it and then bring it to the hand. So you've got lots of different skills there to learn. And then you would start by tying a key onto it, because if you put your whole wad of keys on, sometimes that's a bit too heavy for the dog, and they've gone from the toy weighing this much in their mouth to suddenly weighing this much in their mouth. And that is the one thing that then stops the dog picking it up, because, whoa, that's way too heavy. Or that it hasn't got a toy that is big enough for the dog to still pick it up in their mouth, so they don't have to pick the keys up in their mouth. All right. So that would be one of the things that you could do. And then you would do, as you said, you would put them somewhere and then cue it. Where's my keys? And then you would put them in another place and say, where's my keys? Because the dog has watched where you've put it, it means they're going to be successful. So we're not doing it for the memory aspect, although they're going to have, they're learning, because we're not going to ask them to do other things like we did on the memory game. But because he's watched us put it somewhere, then when you cue it, he goes, I know where it is. And he goes straight to get it and then brings it back. So there's that game that you can also adapt for finding your keys. And then you can also teach them the names of some toys. Start with 2 and start by asking for one of the toys, not both. And that keeps you in those realms of one is right, one is wrong. So if you had rope toy and monkey, and you put them down in front of you, if you have them on a little box so that they're slightly raised, so that they're kind of more at the head height to the dog, and then just say, where's the monkey? And then just turn and look at the monkey and wait. Because you're looking at it, it's far more likely for the dog to go, oh, you're looking at that. And as soon as he looks at it, mark the dog and throw a treat behind him. So now he has to go away. And on the way back, you then say, where's the monkey? So he goes, it's there. So he keeps looking at it. All right. Now, before you even ask for the rope toy, you keep with the monkey. But on the way, at the moment, let's just say the monkey is always on this side and the rope toy's been there. So as he returns, you say, where's the monkey? He goes, there it is, there. You now, when he's going down to eat the treat and he's got his back to you, before he has a chance to turn around and face you, you swap them over. And then you say, where's the monkey? And he goes, it's there. It's there. So now you know that he is identifying it by look, by what it looks like. Because if you always ask for it when it's over on this side, he is going to default to that side. So you want him to say, where, I don't know, which side is it? There it is. Rather than just always, it's there on the left because I always went left or I always went right. So each time you then swap it over and say, where's the monkey? Now, when he's really, really good at that, regardless of what side it's on, you then stick in, because don't forget, when he's been targeting and saying where the monkey is, next to it has been the rope toy all this time. So he's seen it. He may have even looked at it and you've said nothing because it was wrong. And you waited for him to look away and look at the monkey. And then you said yes. So now all of a sudden, when you know that he knows monkey really, really well, you then suddenly say, where's the rope toy? And he goes, rope toy? That's nothing like monkey. Well, that's monkey. Maybe that's rope toy. Good. And then you mark him for that. So because he knows monkey really well, and then now you suddenly say rope toy, he just goes, that's different. Maybe it's that one because that is different to monkey. It's not monkey. So there's another little game. So you can start to introduce things. And as I was saying before, when you know that your dog fully understands the concept of choice, you can then add a third item in. But I always say stick or twist. If the dog is doing it and he's doing it really well, and you can see that it is clear, he knows what he's doing, you can twist. But if not, you stick with what you're doing until he gets it enough for you to twist and go and move on. So start small, build it bit by bit. I always say, slice it thin, really, really thin. And if you have to slice it thinner, so be it. It's still a joint of ham at the end of the day. It's just got far more slices.
I think that's just the most wonderful advice to end our beautiful conversation today. If people would,
I've enjoyed it.
If you would like to get hold of you, Kay, how do they do that?
Okay, well, my website, as you can see on my handle name right there, is kay9services.co.uk. And you can find my email address, which is info@kay9services.co.uk. And also keep an eye out for my Cognitive Skills for Dogs book.
When's that coming out?
I'm not sure of the release date yet because I haven't quite finished writing it, but I am on a deadline with the publisher. So we're probably looking at early next year.
When that happens,
Crossed.
you have to come back on and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it will have lots of different games in there for you to play.
Right.
And it will have each step by step. So it's one of those books that you can buy and off you go.
Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to that, Kay. So that's a one, and I'll make sure that all the information is on the description box to this program. Kay, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed speaking to you again, Anna. It's been a long time.
It has, and my co-host has decided he's going to sleep on the floor, so I don't think he'll be saying bye. But
all right, Anna. Well, have a good evening and take care.
Thank you, and thank you for watching. And next time, I'm not entirely sure who's going to be on yet, but I have some fabulous guests coming up in September. So do make sure you subscribe so that you know when the next program is out. Until then.